This is the cheapest 450 on the market, and this is the most expensive. There's a staggering difference in price, but what does that translate to on track? Today we're putting these two machines head to head to find out. We're going to give you a deep dive on both of these bikes. We'll show you where the money is spent or where it's saved. We'll review the bikes, we'll do a hot lap challenge, and we'll give you our final conclusion at the end of the video.
Let me introduce you to the Ducati Desmo450 MX. This exquisite piece of Italian engineering is state of the art, and it retails for £11,245, which is £550 more expensive than the Triumph RC450, which was the previous most expensive 450. This machine has been developed with Tony Cairoli and is already seeing some great success. There's no doubt that this is a serious weapon. Now let me introduce you to the Kove MX450. This is the first serious motocross machine from China, and it retails for £6,495. There's a staggering £4,750 difference between these two bikes, so we're going to put them through their paces today.
And most importantly of all, we're going to do a hot lap challenge to see which one wins the day. This video has been sponsored by Insta360. Both me and Sean will be using the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 today, and we're using the hardwired microphone with the Insta360 microphone adapter here. So all of the audio you hear out on the track of me and Sean shouting and screaming on board the bikes will be recorded directly to the camera using this microphone. As always, a big thank you goes to Insta360 for supporting the channel.
So I've had the Kove for a couple of weeks now, and I've ridden it, ridden it a few times, but more importantly, I've had it in my workshop, just going through a few things, making sure, just going over it and just checking things. And what I've noticed with it is there's some good bits of it, and there's some not so good bits with it. So if you come a little bit closer, I'll show you. So, you know, cool bits like we've got silicone hoses that they've put on it, which is like, I think it's pretty cool for a bike that's, you know, you're just gonna get straight out the factory. But then they use these spring clips, which are not so cool because you knock one of them and, you know, it's going to pop off and you're going to lose all your coolant. But then a good thing again is the lock stops. They've got this little plate so you don't damage your frame, which I thought was an awesome idea. Do you know when it bangs, it doesn't actually damage the frame at all, which is really cool. Just moving on to the rads, again, what I noticed about the rads, the actual fins themselves in between are very, very small, so I think they possibly may clog up, but you know, we don't know, we haven't experienced that yet. Again, another cool thing, if you can see under here, it's actually got a few little cutouts so you can actually get your hand in to lift it, which again, you know, it's something they've thought about. It's really good. But most importantly is, like, I know the bike's from China, and you know, there was loads of comments about like the build quality and stuff like that, but the fixings, like all the bolts, everything like that, are actually pretty good quality, is what I've known. It's not your usual stuff you get, you know, off Temu or wherever. It is actually good quality stuff. I mean, all these fixings, you know, got a nice finish to them. They're not stainless steel, but you know, they have got a real nice finish that doesn't get marked and start going rusty straight away. But one of the negatives, and which I think is a big negative for it, was the handlebars. Even though they look super good and really cool and that, I put some lock-on grips on because, yeah, I just preferred them to the stock grips. But when I took them off, I noticed that their lock-on grips are actually drilled through the handlebar and tapped into the handlebar. So you had a hole at the top and a hole at the bottom that was drilled into the handlebar. There was a locator pin for the stop, which was again drilled into the handlebar, and the same with the start button. You know, if you drill anything into a handlebar, anything like that, it will create a massive weak spot. So if you had a big off or anything like that, I'm pretty sure your bars would snap. So I've swapped them out for some different bars, so that doesn't happen basically. But one of the negatives about it as well, not, you know, I'll say negative, but it's probably not that bad, is so you've got your solenoid for your starter right here, with the fuses, as you can see, and they're very vulnerable, you know what I mean, for water ingress. I think, you know, you do a lot of power washing and stuff like that, I think that's going to just get a bit of water ingress in it. I'm not going to say it'll fail because we haven't got that far yet, but that's something I have noticed. But then on the positive side, with the wiring, they've actually clipped it with a clip into the frame, so it's not dangling, it's not going anywhere, which is, like, again, a super cool idea. Moving on to the airbox, there's a bit of a mission to get the air filter out. You've got to take the seat off, and then there's about 4 bolts for the side panel to get that off. The air filter fitment is very much like a Honda, but then again, another mod I had to do was the breather. So the breather pipe from the rocker cover went straight into the airbox, and obviously that's for emissions, but we don't care about that because we're motocross riders. But what it was doing is, on the over rev, it would fire the oily mist into the airbox, and then you'd have oil dripping out. Well, it doesn't drip out, it's got a catch pipe, but that was full up with oil. There's oil in the airbox, it's everywhere. So I've modified that. I've put it out the bottom like the Austrian brand, that that's how they are. And then just blocked off the pipe so that it's not drawing any dirty air through there. But apart from that, everything else is pretty good. I'm quite impressed with it. I am quite impressed with the build quality of the bike. It's, like I say, it's not your usual, what you'd expect to come out of China. There's a lot of thought going into it. What you got to remember, they put 3 of these bikes in the Dakar, which is pretty similar to this, the same engine based on this, and all 3 finished. And in Dakar, I think there's a 70% chance of you not finishing. So, you've got to say something there, really. That's like real good. To me, that is like a real good build of a bike, build quality. They've kept all 3 bikes running and all 3 bikes finished. So, let's see how it goes over the next few weeks with it.
Sean would be taken to the track first on the Kove MX450, and I would be taking the Ducati Desmo450 for its first ever ride.
Here we go then, first ride on the Desmo. Jump. She feels so nice and thin, nimble in the turns. Oh, so far so good. She's feeling lovely. Suspension feels good. I think we got some harder springs in this than standard. That's what the guys at Ducati UK suggested we should do right off the bat. So that's what we've done. Feels nice and firm. Actually not too bumpy around here yet. I would go as far as saying this might be the nicest 450 I've ever tried. 1 lap in and she's feeling like a beautiful machine. So nimble, doesn't feel like a 450. Just trying to be smooth. Bring out my inner Jet Lawrence, or Tony Cairoli I should be saying. Oh, and there's the power, there's the power. It's there if you want it. I do actually like this. I don't know what it is about it. It just really suits me. As you know from all the other videos I do, I don't really like a 450. But this, I can ride this.
doesn't feel too fast. It's just right. And I just think it sounds awesome. I just love the pop. I mean, I'm going to talk about the brakes because I'm going to put it out there. These are as good as a Brembo. Honestly, they are so good. So like I said earlier, I'm using the Insta360 Pro 2 right now to film and record this audio. The Ace Pro 2, we've got the latest, greatest action camera from our friends at Insta360. With awesome flow state stabilisation for silky smooth footage. Oh, there's a revving Kove behind me now. As I always say, there'll be some more information and links in the description down below about the Insta360. There's Maxi boy. Woo! Woo! That's Sean's birthday today, so everyone in the comments say happy birthday, Sean. And he just sent that double on the go. Fair play, Smithy. First impressions. So good. Really? Yeah. I'm not a 450 guy. No. But it doesn't feel like one. It doesn't feel like a 450. Doesn't handle like one. No. Proper nimble thing. Yeah, that's what I found in Italy. The power's there if you want it. Yeah. It's fast. Yeah. Yeah. No, just rev it. That's what it's designed to do, man. That's what they told me in Italy. Rev it, baby. Yeah, we want you to rev the bike. Rev. I'm definitely on revving the bike. Yeah. Rev a bike.
Okay, so we've just done the first session. Sean was on the Kove, which is about as raw as it gets for a 450. It's basically a chassis, a motor and some wheels. There's no technology at all. And this is really where the big difference is.
It's got hydraulic clutch.
It's got hydraulic clutch, yeah. But compared to the Ducati, yeah. This has got everything, all the bells and whistles. This is where the money is spent, definitely. And just looking at it, the build quality and the finish, you can tell that this is a high-end machine. Yeah. Like you keep saying, like it's Italian, it's Ferrari,
well, it is, isn't it? It's Lamborghini, you know what I mean? Everything about it is, you know, they've gone to, you know, attention to detail on everything. They've refined everything. It's just beautiful to look at, and every nut bolt is beautiful. Everything about it, it's Italian. Yeah, you know, so you can't say any more than that.
Let's talk about their technology then. Sean's going to go through this because he was on the test in Italy, so he's a bit more well versed in the tech. He was taught by the factory mechanics in Italy, so talk us through what this bike has got in terms of technology, Sean.
So yeah, terms of technology, you've got basically, like most bikes, you've got a map switch with traction. This has got a quick shifter on it, that comes as standard, maps 1 and 2. And obviously a launch control. Now, you know, in addition to that, you can then buy the Bluetooth bolt-on that you got there, which then allows you to customise the map, which we've seen before on some Austrian brands. It's very similar to that, but what it allows you to do is go on your phone, go on an app, and then you can reduce the engine braking, you can make the throttle responsive more aggressive or softer. You know, there's lots of different things you can do it, so you can tailor it to your riding style. When we tested it in Italy, what they made us do is in the morning, everything was switched off. So they made us ride them raw, so there was no technology there. Then in the afternoon, we were allowed to play with it, just so you got a feel of the difference of their technology. And it did make a big difference to the way the bike rode and handled, you know, compared to like other switches and that you get on bikes. Sometimes you can't really tell a difference, but this, you most certainly could tell a difference, especially with the engine braking was the biggest for me. Yeah, I mean, you only got to look at it, and it's, you know, everything is attention to detail with the whole bike. But then I did notice one thing: if you're ever adjusting the rear chain, you can only use a socket on the nut because you can't get a ring spanner on there because the way the chain tugger is, you know, it incorporates the whole of the axle, which is a bit different to like anything else we've seen, because it's normally an adjuster and a block, but this actually adjusts the axle itself, which is then more precise. So yeah, so if you're ever going to change the, or should say adjust the chain, you'll need a socket for that. Yeah, so as you know, with it being a Ducati, it's got the Desmo450 cam system in it, where it runs no springs for the valves. It basically has a rocker that opens the valve and shuts the valve. This eliminates valve bounce basically, and obviously when you're pushing something open and then pulling it shut, you can get a lot more rev out the engine, which Ducati have managed to do. This is now revs to 11,900. Yeah, and the Kove, this is just a comparison, revs to 9,000.
Is it 9,500?
9,500. So there's a big difference there, big difference in how it revs. But interestingly enough, the Kove claims 62 brake horsepower and the Ducati claims 63. So it'll be interesting to ride them back to back just to see. I think that's probably from the crank and that's probably from the rear wheel, maybe, who knows.
Let's just talk about your lap times. So obviously on the Kove it's going to be raw, there's no aids.
Yeah.
When you do your lap time on the Ducati, the money you spend, the money is spent on this technology, so you're going to use the technology and have it in the modes that you're most comfortable.
I'm going to tailor the bike to to suit me for my riding style, how I like it to deliver the power and all the rest of it, because that's what the bike's got. So that's what that's what you're paying for, and that's what I'm going to use. That what you're paying for, use all the technology you can. So it'll be an interesting test.
Yeah, sure. So now we're going to hit the track again. I'm going to go on the Kove. Sean's going to go on the Ducati, and we'll get some initial reactions just to how different they are. Where's my traction control gone? Back end sliding out there. Oh, this thing, immediately the sound is so different. It's a more visceral feeling, I'd say, on this thing. Riding position is a bit different. It feels a bit bigger, but its presence is pretty good. It doesn't want to stop though. This runs on. It's like no engine braking on it. I'm actually liking this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I can see why Sean has been enjoying this bike, to be honest. It's just simple and raw for the normal rider like me and Sean. So you don't really need all the fancy stuff. How smooth the power is. Super smooth. Right, super smooth. It doesn't feel like your normal 450. And the old ribs pick up, man. Woo! See what I mean? You give it a rev. Take a brave man to rev one of these to 11,600 or whatever it is, 900. Definitely faster than the Kove, I know that. Very surprised. This is good actually. Yeah. Now we'll move them bars back. It just turns so well. I enjoyed it today. I didn't enjoy it on the test. Yeah. It's strange. I think the way I can describe it is, this sounds like a real dig at Kove, but this almost feels like a toy, and that feels like a weapon. Yeah. Like this is like a toy gun, and that's an AK-47. That is a lot of machine Whereas this, I felt like you could override it, which is not what you usually do on a 450. If you're a cadet, perfect. Do you know what I mean? You know, you're an experienced, rifleman, gunman. This is the weapon. Opposite ends of the spectrum. Definitely. Massively. Let's we'll go back, have a debrief off camera. You'll set your fast laps, and then we'll have a proper sit down at the end of the day. I need to change these handlebars. Right, let's go back, yeah?
Here we go then, the clock is on for Sean. He's starting things off on board the Desmo. If you know Sean, you know he gives it 100% every time he's on track, no matter what machine he's riding. So like we've said so far in this video, the Ducati possesses all of the gadgets you could ever wish for on board a motocross bike. And Sean has set this bike up to his preferences. He's got the traction control he likes, he's got the map settings he likes, he's got the quick shifter on. He's using all of the technology available to him here on board the Desmo. Halfway around the track, he sends the double there. That's quite a technical little jump, but he sails over it on board the Italian stallion. Using all the power of that big 450 out of the corner there. There's just a handful of corners left in the lap for Sean and the Ducati then. Into the penultimate turn, over a little single and then a tabletop. Through the final turn, on the power, up and over the finish line. That's a lap in the books on board the Ducati Desmo 450 MX. Now it's time for the Chinese machine, the Kove MX450. The clock is on. Straight away you can hear the difference in the sound there between the two. The Kove's a lot louder, that's for sure. There's not a single part on this machine from a brand that you might recognise. They're all Chinese-made products here. So that's the brakes, the suspension, everything. It's all from Chinese companies. Even the tyres. The lap now, we're coming up to that technical little double. Will Sean pull the trigger on board the Kove 450? Yes, he does. Sails over it with ease. On the gas. Not too many long straights here at Moto 101 to really stretch the legs of a 450. Listen to the pop over there. It's a unique sound, that's for sure. A unique bark, let's say. Three corners left in the lap. What do you think, guys? How's he looked on board this bike, on board the Chinese machine? What are your guesses? Let me know in the comments down below. What are your predictions? Through the final turn, on the gas, up towards the tabletop, across the finish he goes, and that's the lap on board the Kove.
How do you think that went? It's alright once I got used to it. It's completely different to the Ducati. And that analogy that Max used about this feeling like a toy, when you got off the Duke onto this, I knew exactly what he meant.
So we reckon you must be the first person in the world to do back-to-back hot laps on the cheapest 450 and the most expensive 450.
Yeah, I think that as well.
Yeah.
I think out of every test we've done, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Back
this
to
is-
back, this is the most interesting.
I
Do you
think
know
this
what I
has
mean?
the most implications
Yeah,
for the
for
most
sure.
people.
Yeah,
Definitely. This is a proper Top Gear test, this, isn't
This
it?
is, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Cool. Does that mean I'm Richard Hammond?
As you can see, both of our 450s here are sat on ProWorks stands, and if you head over to the 24MX website, you can get 20% off on a whole load of ProWorks products this month until the 31st of October. So check that link in the description down below for that deal. As always, a big thank you goes to 24MX for supporting the channel. So we've both ridden each of the bikes, we've given them a proper test. Sean's done his hot laps and we'll get to that in a minute. But we're going to try and give these a full comprehensive review and compare them properly. What were your initial reactions?
Well, I've ridden the Kove a couple of times, so it felt familiar, it felt pretty good. I obviously rode that in Italy, and the bike felt superb there, and I was really looking forward today and eager to get on it on one of our tracks.
Your local home
this is
track.
my local
so
home track, yeah. Yeah, I don't think there was any part of it where it was disappointing. Ducati, they're renowned for what they build, and they've done exactly the same with the motocross bikes. Everything is so refined, works so well. The whole ergonomics and the way the bike works, just the whole package of it, for me, by far, it's the best bike out there on the market.
I am not a 450 guy.
No.
I don't usually get along with them. They're a bit big and bulky for me, typically. Did not feel that on this at all. It felt nimble, it felt light, easy to ride when you've got all that technology helping you out. That's the main selling point for me on this.
Yeah, they've worked so well with it and refined absolutely everything. I knew I'd be impressed with it because I've ridden it before, but yeah, even more so now at a track which I've done a million laps around, and I know every single bump on this track. So it was really nice to ride it around here because I know what a good bike will feel like around here, and yeah, that's just nailed it.
Yeah.
Really has.
So then when you jumped on that, give us a comparison.
Well, I mean, when we swapped, and we were talking earlier, and you used that analogy of, this feels like a toy, and I was on that at the time, and I thought, oh, that's a little bit harsh, I wouldn't have said that. But jumping from that on my hot laps to this, I can understand where you're coming from. I mean, I didn't feel like it felt like a toy, but I could understand what you meant. And I thought, I know exactly.
That's probably a harsh way to put
Yeah,
it, but it was
yeah.
just an analogy that I could think of.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
mean, it's a great bike. It is a very, very great bike. And if we just got the fueling sorted out, so it didn't, pop so much,
Pop and bang.
yeah, it'd be fine. But it does make you feel like a superstar.
It does,
It does
it
make you
does.
feel like you are shifting, you're going fast. Yeah, and people are looking because it's popping and banging, but I think they're looking for the wrong reasons. They're like, is he on a pit bike?
Yeah. It's just a wild difference between
Oh,
the two.
massive, yeah. I was going to say that their claim of brake horsepower is probably where it's at. That I don't think
No,
it is.
no.
It's not a bad thing. That, for your average club rider, vet rider, you can ride that, I wouldn't say to its potential, but you're, 85, 90% there.
Yeah.
You get a pro rider, that ain't going to be no good
He's-
for him.
he's hitting the ceiling real quick.
He's going to be going, that I need more power. Pro rider on that, he's
not
going to
hit
be
the
loving it.
ceiling.
No,
Oh,
yeah.
And for me, you feeling a little bit more cautious on that because you know it's got the potential to
It
run
does,
away.
yeah, it does when you start revving it. But the best thing about that, what I noticed, it doesn't have that horrible luggy bottom. Both bikes, it doesn't have that horrible luggy bottom end torquey power that you'll get on a 450. And it's fine if you're, 15 plus stone, a vet rider, carry a bit of weight, perfect, because they can hold it into the ground. But 74 kilos on a 450 that's torquey and it pops in the corner, pop, pop, and your arms are straight, you're out of control. Where that doesn't do it. It's so good, smooth and usable off the bottom, and then once the Desmo kicks in, it's like, yeah, baby.
Right, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to give some categories and you just go, you point to which one and say which one you think wins that category, right? So, power.
So we're talking about usable power.
So this is where I struggled with this one, because this is obviously wins in power in terms of ponies, but power that me and you can use, I was leaning towards this a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very close because, like I said, that off the bottom hasn't got that horrible luggy power you get at 450. It off the bottom, for me, feels like, you tune 250, 350, and I loved it. And then, but when the Desmo kicks in, it shifts. But you already sorted yourself out. Do you see what I mean? Body position and where you are on the track, and where you are in the corner or exiting the corner. You already sorted all that. So when the power kicks in, it's just where you need it. So it was really, really good. For you,
this was the hardest category.
Yeah,
for me.
definitely. For usable, I mean, this gives you confidence for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's not powerful. It's not slow, but it's not powerful. Can I just say both of them?
Yeah, it's a draw.
I'd say a draw, because for different reasons, it would just be a draw, yeah.
Equipment.
Oh, that, yeah.
All day, every day, isn't it? It's got everything.
Yeah.
Build quality.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. In saying that, like I said, it isn't bad. I've had it a couple of weeks. I've been through it in my workshop. There are a few things you look and think, oh, maybe, like the hose clips, which is no biggie, you can just change them. But the actual, when I look at it and the nuts and the bolts, it's just not your typical Chinese nuts and bolts. I dare say there's a lot of nuts and bolts off this that are probably the same as that.
Yeah. But when you walk around this, it gives you those supercar vibes.
Everything is just so refined. Like I said, your clips for your cables, the way the wiring's tucked in, it's so refined. It really is.
Handling. Yeah, suspension is a different category. So let's go how it turns.
Right, how it turns, that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's very sharp in the corners.
Yeah. I found that with that I had to turn it on the brake. There were some lines that I could hit on that I couldn't hit on that, and it might be because I'm entering the corner faster because the bike's faster and you couldn't quite get to the point, and I think that was a lot to do with it. But yeah, I think tight turns, that holds a tighter line. Yeah.
Looks.
Oh mate, come on. Yeah, all day
One
long.
of the sexiest bikes you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Brakes, braking.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
I mean, I did say, oh, these are as good as a Brembo. And then I got on that and I'm like...
then you use some Brembos.
No.
The brakes are good on that, I think, because that has no engine braking at all. Like, if you're coasting into the corners, you're overshooting things.
Yeah,
but when you use the brakes, they're good.
Yeah, they are good, but I was putting them on the same platform as them, and they're not. They're just not. They're just not.
Right. We'll go to suspension.
All day
This
long.
has got the firmer stuff in, doesn't it? So
firmer springs.
Which isn't standard, but it's one of the upgrades that they suggested we do straight away. So we've done it.
Well, I'm pretty sure
that.
when you buy a Ducati, that bike will be tailored for you. So whatever your weight is, they will tailor the springs for you. So if you're a bigger guy, bigger springs. Not so big guy, they put lighter springs in. It's how you buy that bike is tailored for you. It's tailored for your weight. Yeah.
Ergonomics. Like sitting on it, how did it feel? The Kove isn't a big bulky 450, but this is incredibly nimble for a 450.
Yeah.
The seat tapers in right here, and it's so thin in this midpoint here.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That doesn't feel like I mean, they both don't. They don't feel like 450s. That is it.
I think that's the modern way now.
I think that's a toughie, because once I put, again, I'll keep going back to the handlebars. Once I put them back to how, my position where I like them, I felt super comfortable on it. And the same with that, I moved the bars on that. I just think because that's more refined, I will go for the Ducati. Yeah.
And now this is the biggie. The category is price. obviously your accountant's going to prefer this one, 6.5 grand compared to 11,245. So this is very expensive, the most expensive bike in the class, but is it worth that money?
If you're a serious racer, you know, you're going to be looking at that, because what you're looking at there is the closest thing you'll get to a factory bike. You can buy everything for that bike that Caroli runs and all the other factory guys. The only thing you can't get is the suspension, because that's yeah, that's something different. But everything else you can put on that bike the same as his. So they are literally a factory bike. So that's what you're buying. I think the best way I can describe that is like, you'll go to Monaco and you'll see that guy, multi-millionaire, and he's got the supermodel on his arm. Yeah. When I ride that, that's what I feel like. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I have the supermodel. So I think for the serious racer, you will not get a better bike than that. And if you're a guy with lots of money and a supermodel missus, you're going to be buying that bike.
Do you think that is cheap enough to kind of forgive it for all of its weaknesses?
If I'm honest, no.
No.
Because the problem with the price of that, you're competing against the imports.
Cheaper,
yeah, we don't like to see imports. Do you know what I mean? But unfortunately, we do. That's what you'll be competing against. Import prices, and it's going to be a similar price to that.
For a Kawasaki or Suzuki,
Honda,
or...
any of them, they'll be similar price to that. And I think people, if they had a choice of that or an import, I don't want to say that, but I'm going to speak the truth, and that's what I think. It's not cheap enough for them people. You know, if you want to support brands, in this country and not the import bikes, and then by all means. But unfortunately, they're out there, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. Before we move on to the lap times, there's two more things I want to talk about. One is reliability. Right. So you've had that for a couple of weeks. Yeah. You've ridden it a couple of times. Yeah. Literally picked this up this week. Yeah. But we're going to have this for a long time on the channel, for the full season. So we're going to have the opportunity to really run this and see how it lasts throughout the year. Hopefully we'll be able to keep hold of this a bit longer, the Kove a bit longer, and see how that fares after a few more hard rides. So we can't really say which one wins in terms of reliability at the moment. Today they've both been no problems at all.
And ignore the my number boards, because I'm racing it in a few days' time, and they're off my KTM, and I just
after that race we'll maybe have a better idea in terms of reliability, but so far we can't say. No. If you're buying bikes, if you're an everyday rider, you're buying a bike, a big thing that you need to think about is resale value at the end, right? Yeah. That's a big consideration when you're purchasing a bike. Me and Dad behind the scenes, we've been going back and forth as to what we think, how it would go, because obviously this is so expensive. As soon as you ride it, how much are you going to lose compared to this? It can't lose too much value because it's pretty cheap already.
Well, I think, at that price, what that is I think 6.5, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a year's time, that's going to be worth half its value, isn't it? And then you've got to try,
convince someone to buy a second-hand Chinese bike.
Yeah.
Is a difficult task, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, this is unknown, isn't it? It's an unknown bike, and then there's the parts. Okay, there's the parts available for it. Can you get parts? Do you know what I mean?
And so then resale on this, how much do you reckon after a season this would drop?
This is like, to me, it's the pinnacle of motorcycles. In the road bike world, everybody loves a Ducati. They're the sexiest, best bikes out there, and I think these are the same. And I'd compare it to, like, if you bought a Lamborghini supercar. I personally don't think it will lose that much money. I genuinely don't think it will lose that much money.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know what everyone thinks. So let us know in the comments, how much are these going to drop in value, you think, after a season or two?
I think you'd lose more on that.
Really?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Right, so let's get to the meat of it then. So far it's all been opinions and blah, blah, blah. The real result comes from the stopwatch. It's interesting because this is your home track. Yes. You've done so many laps here. I don't know the times yet, you don't know the times yet.
Who knows the times?
Only producer Phil.
Producer Phil.
So you did more laps on the Kove, didn't you? You did 5 laps on the Kove.
Yeah, but
because you was trying to find
a clear lap, because there's other riders out there. So I wanted to give it its best shot.
So your fastest time on the Kove MX450 on 1:45.21.
It's not bad.
And now this is the moment of truth.
That's not bad, because on my 250F I was a 1:46 around here.
What was the price difference? Like £4,000 odd pound price difference. It's a big price difference, but what is the time difference? On the Ducati, A 1:42.51.
That's the
3 seconds.
there you go.
There you go.
I knew I'd
Almost £1,000 per second.
Yeah, I knew I'd be quick on that, but not 3 seconds faster.
That's on the track like that. It's not that long. It's not that rough. That is quite a big difference.
That's impressive, man. That's impressive. But I did set that up for how I like a bike to ride. We set up the map switch and everything, you know,
Traction
on the
control,
all of that.
use all the
Body
technology.
apps, used
Quick
all
shifter
the,
on.
all the technology on the bike. So there you go. It's worth 3 seconds, isn't it? And that's a lot.
That adds up a lot in a 20-minute race.
That's a lot. I was going to race that in a few days. I might race that now.
Well, what an interesting test. I think
Yeah.
that is definitely one of the most interesting tests we've done
yeah.
in real world terms. Like,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool to
it
know,
surprised me. 3 seconds. Are you sure it's 3 seconds? That's a lot. That's a lot. Like
And you're riding both of them
Yeah,
well.
I know. Yeah. And like I say, my lap time earlier on my 250F is like a 1:46.
on that bombshell, then we'll finish off. Like we say, Sean's going to be racing this soon, so be sure to subscribe to the channel to see that adventure. As always, Sean, thank you.
Hey, been a pleasure.
Yeah, big thanks to all of our sponsors for supporting what we do. My name is Matt. You've been watching 999 Laser. Till next time, I'll see you at the track.